what's going on, everybody? I'm the Tool Wheel Teacher, and this is a 2013 Harley-Davidson Softail Breakout CVO. I'm hanging out at Tallahassee Harley-Davidson, checking out some of their inventory, and today I'm going to be doing a walk-around review and test ride of this fantastic CVO. Let's do it. So if you're around my age, give or take probably 5 to 10 years, one of your first exposures to motorcycle culture outside of just advertising was probably the hit mid-2000s reality show West Coast Choppers, which is the show that followed fabricator Jesse James and his company West Coast Choppers as they produced some bizarre, over-the-top, really cool, handmade, custom-built chopper motorcycle. And the chopper trend kind of died out a little bit after the end of the early 2000s, and Harley responded by putting a bigger vat tire on the back end of a Softail frame, raking out the front end a little bit, bringing the whole thing down, throwing some more chrome on it, and calling it the Breakout. Now this isn't just any old Breakout, this is a 2013 CVO Breakout. CVO stands for Custom Vehicles Operation, and it's Harley-Davidson's in-house customization and high-performance department. And when it comes to CVO, one word is synonymous with this sort of build language that they used during the end of the early 2000s into the teens, and that is chrome, chrome, chrome. Let's take a closer look at some of the special parts and features of the CVO Breakout. So when I said that chrome is the name of the game when it comes to what makes a lot of this CVO Breakout special, I was not kidding. Just taking a quick glance at the bike, you can see that this is not your typical showroom standard price motorcycle. Chrome features include, obviously, your handlebars, your grips, your entire rear view mirror assembly, both of your levers, the housings for your turn signals, the housing on the tach and the speedometer, chrome running up the center of the gas tank, chrome filler cap, your entire front fork assembly, your nacelle, a good chunk of the front fender. Both of your rims are fully chrome. Basically the entire right side of the bike, everything from your bracketing here, your oil tank, the tops of your headers, the intake, all of the foot levers and foot controls, obviously the exhaust, all the additions to the crankcase, some of this tubing for lubrication, and the other side of the bike is really no different. Everything on the left side of the bike is chrome, whether it's, again, your foot controls, your kickstand, primary cover, derby cover, oil tank, pulley cover to the back wheel, the horn, even the oil cooler has chrome on it. And of course, an all-important question when it comes to purchasing a motorcycle is, how does it sound when it starts? How does it sound when it revs? Let's take a listen. All right, guys, that's enough looking. Let's take it on the road and see how she rides. All right, so I mentioned how watching West Coast Choppers or Orange County Choppers or Monster Garage, that sort of thing, was my first exposure to sort of custom chopper culture, and I think that was really the starting point for most people. And I remember being told, you know, because I would watch and I would see all these bikes and I would just say, man, that looks so cool, it looks like so much fun, that's such a sweet looking bike. And my mom would always be like, that is a sweet looking bike, but just so you know, it would be crazy uncomfortable, you wouldn't want to be on it very long. You know, if you read reviews or read owner testimonials of guys that have bought those really raked out long fork choppers from those sort of custom builders, they will remark that they're not really comfortable, they're not ergonomically sound necessarily, they're just as much a piece of art as they are a practical machine to ride. So then the question for a company like Harley is, all right, there's a market for the custom chopper look. How do we present that as a purchasable option that is attractive and profitable, while also making it comfortable so that people will actually want to buy them, you know? And the Breakout was their answer. And I gotta tell you, they did it. I usually really don't like forward controls. And I mean, you know, I got forward controls on my Street Glide, but realistically, my knee doesn't have to come out, you know, my leg doesn't come out very far past my knee to get to the footboards. Usually on Softails and Sportsters, and they've got forward mounted controls, they're pretty far forward, so I'm never really that attracted to them, because I don't want to have a riding position that is too far forward with my legs
And that's just because my preferred riding style and my preferred riding purpose, you know, is touring. I like taking trips, I like going places, so I like really comfortable bikes. And this has the low slung bars with the drag back on them, and it's got the forward controls, and it's really comfortable. I know one of the first things I talk about when I do test rides is the ergonomics and how comfortable a bike is or isn't to sit on and ride on. And props to Harley on making the Breakout look as cool and custom as it does, while also making it really, really comfortable to ride. So one thing I didn't talk about in the walk around of the motorcycle is the other side of the CVO treatment that these bikes get, and that's the performance side. So this bike is from 2013, so this is pre-Milwaukee 8. So it's got a 110 cubic inch Screamin Eagle CVO motor in it, which puts out something like 108, 110 foot-pound of torque. So it's definitely, it's a gutsy motor. I've also reviewed a Softail Slim S, which also has the 110B in it, and a Dyno Lowrider S, which also has the 110B in it. And of all the iterations of the twin cam that Harley made while they were making the twin cam, the 110B it's it, guys. If you come across a used Harley and it doesn't have the most recent generation of motor in it, if it doesn't have a Milwaukee 8, that's not a big deal, you know? Especially if it's a CVO or an S bike and it's got the 110B in it, the Screamin Eagle. This is a fantastic motor. And especially if you find it on a Breakout CVO, like, yo, this is a no-brainer. So you've got the bigger displacement motor, you've got the heavy breather intake, and then you've got the high flow exhaust that came on it. You've got single disc brakes in front, you've got single disc brake in back, but the rotors look bigger, that's for sure. And of course you've got steel braided lines for both your hydraulic clutch and for your brakes, and you've got a huge rear tire. I don't know if you guys, you know, saw that in the walk around, but the rear tire on this thing is just massive. So you got plenty of rubber to get your torque actually onto the pavement, which is where it matters. And you can see you've got this half digital, half analog speedo and tack, and then you've got your actual lights on one of those riser mounted displays, which I think is neat. I think a lot of manufacturers just end up buying from a parts bin when it comes to their displays, just to keep costs down. And the fact that Harley goes out of their way to make really modern looking, really well designed, sleek displays that even 7 years later, you know, you gotta remember this is a 7-year-old bike. Even 7 years later, this looks good. That's a rare thing in design, especially in automobile design, you know, just sort of all-encompassing auto design, whether it's bikes, SUVs, cars, convertibles, whatever. Design can age really, really quickly, and this didn't. This just looks good. One of the things that was fascinating and really cool to see are these fuel lines, these steel-braided fuel lines coming off the top of the tank. That's definitely a different look. That's a custom look right there. I love this flush gas tank cap. I love those flush caps like that. So yeah, with this Softail Breakout CVO, you get the highest performing twin cam Breakout they ever made. You get an incredibly comfortable riding position. You know, all things considered, it is sporty, it is aggressive. You know, you've got a triangle that ends sort of out away from the body, but I'm really comfortable having sat on the bike for, I don't know, probably close to half an hour at this point. That's usually the point when I'm sitting on a bike and I'm going to figure out like, oh, I either want to get off this thing pretty quick, or hey, I could take this for a few hundred miles and be comfortable on it. And the thing about CVOs too, we talk about value, you know, they retain their value really, really well, because this is, for the year 2013, this is one of the pinnacle bikes that Harley made that year. You know, this is a look you'll never see again on another Harley-Davidson ever. It was custom for that year, whether it's the paint, whether it's the accessories that were put on it, or you know, all sorts of details that went into building and designing this bike. You're never going to see it again like this.
Alright guys, so that's my walk around, review, and test ride of this fantastic 2013 Softail Breakout CVO. If you have a question about this bike or any of the bikes featured on my channel, head to TallahasseeHarley.com. And until next time, I'm the Two Wheel Teacher, and I'll see you on the road.